What's up guys, the Strong Boys 19 here. This is going to be a brand new album review, and today I'm going to be reviewing the latest album from very iconic, legendary and active inspirational band from Germany, Tangerine Dream, entitled Raum. This is their latest album to be released in their entire discography, with many albums in their catalogue of releases, involving tons of lineup changes throughout this band's history and discography, and they've been a very active band for more than 5 decades. Tangerine Dream has been one of my favourite bands of all time, and they have been incredibly consistent, especially with the classic era of the 70s period of their albums through the Virgin record label, involving albums like the critically acclaimed and classic album Phaedra, to others like Rubicon, Stratosphere, and my personal favourite Tangerine Dream album of all time, Force Majeure. And then across the differences into the style of something meditative, explorative, and experimental, as Tangerine Dream have been that way for many years in their career, they have released an endless amount of albums involving the genres with a lot of synthesizers and progressive elements. Some records have a bit of a new age kind of feel, and they've also been very popular for releasing some movie soundtracks involving Sorcerer, and they've also composed the Grand Theft Auto 5 soundtrack. And this is a very eclectic musical band into the likes of genres of krautrock and into that soundscapey, shimmering electronic phase. They've been such a big household name alongside other bands involving Can, Neu, Cluster, Amundil 2, Kraftwerk, and Tangerine Dream has been one of the top 5 for me into these genres. So with this new album of Raum, I was anticipated because this is my first time listening to and reviewing a new album from one of Germany's greatest bands. The first track on the album, of Continuum, opens things on a bright, soothing major chord placement, and then an ongoing loop of synthesized beats, padded rhythms, and attached melody to deliver the free space and moving the music very comfortably, and all over these multiple layers of sounds and the bass to sparkle into the mix, and it sounds very comfortable, and it brings in a joyful sound just to open things up as really nicely. On to the next track of the album, of Portico. This opens on the synthesizer futuristic type of approach onto the sound of the composition. It's a separate change of mood, but increasing more of a mid-tempo type of arrangement and flavour. The music was matching the stereo-formed keyboard notes into the background, and some points onto this track sounded fizzled out, but it was beautifully mixed in while the effects are placing things together. There are some sets of harmonic notes to fade in and out as warmly as later on into the track it brings in so much more texture as the experimentalism continues on. The 19-minute longest track on the record, of In 256 Zation, it's a massive, irresistible, progressive, ambient long adventure, and this colours in all of these wonderful tones together, and it was growing more onto the ambient attachments, and it sounds so soft and surreal as it really gets. Makes it wonderful and absolutely stunning. The only thing that I will say is that I think the composition, while being so consistent into that ambient drony sounds, it does drag a bit too long. But other than that, there are some involvements, violin textures, and various sounds to progress along with the delivery. And then we go into the big single of this record, of You're Always on Time, and I think this is one of the strongest tracks on this album. A beginning sound that is like a clock ticking, but it adds more of a rhythm to it. Lower bass frequencies that were placed in, while the minor tone progression and reverb all matches. I think this adds in such a brilliant mix on something on a complex type of ability, but with the whole journey, this type of structure does make, I really think this is one of the other memorable aspects onto the whole sound of this album. Along the Canal is kind of like a difference in varying stuff, and it's quite experimental. Opening synthesizer lines become very consistent, and as well as the various sonics and the visualizing of the composition does sound nice, and as well as rich exploration that I think does make it quite progressive into the way this type of fruition of a composition does make. The second to last track on the record being another one of the highlights on the album of what you should know about endings. This adds in so much sprinkled new age style of beauty, but then again it puts in onto more rhythm, like onto You're Always on Time. I really like this track because it sounds robotic in numerous places with these glitchy and prominent tones that we're continuing on. It's making a separate mood as alike to You're Always on Time, but it's quite optimistic, and to me it sounds as inspired and as memorable as the piece does go over across these various lines. Then on to the last track of the 14-minute composition of Raum. This is easily and instantly, mind you, a massive progressive long style track, hearing warm fading chords and noises from guitars to accompanying meditative natures and jangling notes, rumbling bass that slowly goes in and focuses onto some of the droning and audacity, and it sweetly grows alongside these constant, expressive, vibrant, climactic, versatile sounds. And I really enjoy this track. It's just brilliant, and some of the points that it makes me think that it's like I'm hearing the sea, and again onto the sound of the violin, just to mix things even further, to finalize things in a really perfect and clean mixed finale to wrap this album off. Raum to me is an album that I really have been enjoying so much. The more I thought about the record, into the style of production, and also onto this lineup, this trio, into the new lineup of Tangerine Dream, they know what they're all about, to keep the delivery and the legacy of what Tangerine Dream have been all about for many years. And I really have been personally enjoying a lot of this record, that I think it has got to become one of the other stronger records in Tangerine Dream's discography. If you like this kind of flavour, this kind of adventure, the type of electronic infused, syncopated type of experimentalisms, then look no further with this record of Raum by Tangerine Dream, and let me know what you think of this album in the comments down below. I'm going to give Raum by Tangerine Dream an 8.5 out of 10. I was positive at first to give it a 9, but I think that 8.5 is personally for me acceptable enough. But there's no rhyme or reason that you should not miss this one out. If you are into this type of sound, especially if you are a fan of krautrock, all types of unique experimentalisms like myself, and definitely check this one out, and I would recommend it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.